Hey, imagine you're about to rebuild your home theater and you've just opened a box of new speakers, but you're staring at that empty spot where the receiver should go, wondering if you're about to waste a ton of cash on something that won't actually talk to the rest of your gear. That hesitation is real, especially when the specs sound like they belong on a spaceship. If you're thinking about the Marantz Cinema 40, I'm here to walk you through why it might or might not be the right fit before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the kind of setup this thing is built for. The Cinema 40 is a 9.4-channel AV receiver that throws out 125 watts per channel, so you've got enough power to drive most floor-standing or bookshelf speakers without cranking the volume. The big selling point is the 8K video support, 10 HDMI inputs, 7 of which can handle 8K at 60 Hz, plus 3 outputs for a second TV or projector. If you're already sitting with an 8K TV, a projector that can do 8K, or you're planning a future upgrade, that bandwidth is actually useful. Otherwise, you'll probably never see those extra pixels, and you'll be paying a premium for a feature you'll never use. One of the most common scenarios I've seen people run into is trying to mix gaming and movies on the same system. The Cinema 40 supports Dolby Atmos, DTS, X Pro, IMAX Enhanced, and even Auro 3D, which means you can pull the full 3D sound envelope out of a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, provided you have Atmos-enabled games. In my testing, the receiver's processing was smooth. There was no lag when switching from a 4K movie to a 120 Hz gaming session, which is what you want when you're trying to keep the immersion alive. The built-in HEOS multi-room system also lets you stream music to other rooms without a separate hub, so your kitchen can stay in sync with the living room while a movie is playing. Now, who should actually consider this unit? If you already have a decent lineup of speakers, say, a set of 5.1 or 7.1 speakers that you love, and you want to add Atmos height speakers without replacing anything, the Cinema 40 gives you the channels you need. It also works well for people who already own a 4K or 8K TV and want a single hub that can handle all the HDMI inputs without constantly swapping cables. The Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and voice control integration via Alexa, Google, or Siri are real conveniences if you're already in a smart home ecosystem. In short, it's a solid choice for a fairly advanced home theater enthusiast who wants both high-resolution video and top-tier surround sound. On the flip side, if you're just stepping up from a basic soundbar or a 2-channel stereo setup, you might be overkill. The unit is fairly large, about 18 inches tall, and it expects a full rack or a dedicated entertainment center. If your living room is modest, you'll need to make space for the receiver and all the extra HDMI cables. Also, the 125-watt rating looks good on paper, but remember that power ratings for AVRs are measured under very specific conditions. In a real-world room with a typical 30-inch bookshelf speaker, you'll probably be dialing back the volume to keep distortion low, which means you won't be using the full power potential. So, for smaller rooms or low-sensitivity speakers, you might be paying for a bigger engine than you need. Let's break down the strengths that actually matter once you have the box in your hands. First, the HDMI bandwidth. 10 8-capable ports mean you can plug in a streaming device, a game console, a Blu-ray player, and still have room for a cable box and a media player, all without needing an external switch. That reduces the chance of losing signal quality when you're swapping cables. Second, the HEOS integration is more than a gimmick. I set up a playlist on my phone, hit play, and the music streamed flawlessly to the Cinema 40 while the receiver continued to process a movie in the background. The ability to control volume and source with voice commands was spot on. The receiver responded instantly to Alexa, lower the volume, which saved me from fumbling with the remote mid-movie. A couple of practical weaknesses show up when you actually live with the unit. The user interface on the front panel is a bit dated. The rotary dial is okay, but the on-screen menu can feel sluggish, especially when toggling between the many HDMI inputs. I had to give it a few seconds before the selected source switched, which is annoying if you're trying to jump quickly between a game and a streaming app. Also, while the built-in Wi-Fi is great for streaming, the Ethernet port is hidden behind a small panel, so you have to reach a bit to plug in a wired connection. If you're the type who prefers a hardwired network for stability, that design choice can be a minor pain.